Well, welcome to the retouch side of the start to finish. I love doing retouching. I kind of think of the retouching side is half of the creative process. So the capture is one part of it, and then the retouch is the other part. So I love diving in. I love experimenting, trying new things. I want a picture that I can hang on my wall, or if I have a client, they can turn into a billboard or whatever it is. It's something that I can look back and say, I did that. So I love the creative process all the way through. So the retouch side I'm going to show you is, I don't think it's very complicated, but I've been doing Photoshop for a long time. I'm going to go as slow as possible to make sure that you get all the steps. Sometimes I get a little bit of a hurry. So as an instructor, it's difficult sometimes because if I go too slow, some people go, geez, it sounds like you're talking to a third grader, which, you know, I mean, sometimes that's how slow I have to do it. And then some people say, oh, you're going too fast. So it's really difficult as I go and try to pull this thing off here. So I'm going to go through, it's been about 2.5 weeks since I retouched the original one. So we're going to go through the steps. Hopefully I'll be able to get a very close result of what I have here. So let me take a look at this. I'm going to show you the original that I did and all the layers. So here we have William, and here's all my layers. Not a ton. So I added some light streaks onto these lights hanging in the background. Again, to build drama, I like that. Again, I think my job as a photographer is to make people like William look like superheroes. I build an image that, of course, you know, works, whether it's an ad campaign or whatever it is I'm doing. So let me click this off. That's the left one over here. Here's the right one. And there's just some flare up in the top. So these lights would go along here, and there would probably be another one up in here. So by having a flare along here, it kind of gives that sense of lights to continue to come through. So this one, I don't know what happened here. I think that was an accident. It's an extra layer. Let's get rid of that. There's nothing there. So this is a little bit of a levels, increase the contrast, but I had to pull it back a little bit by using a mask with a black brush, so that if I hit the shift key here, it'll show you it blew these lights out. So I increased the contrast, but I pull back on each light. All right. So that's that. Here's the glow in here to make my lights look a little more realistic. And then here's all the streaks. We're going to show you how I did that. So let's take that off. And then, as you can see, that really adds a lot of drama when I do that. Here's a vignette. So not very much of it. We'll just pulled in the sides a little bit. We'll show you how to do that. Here's my stamp visible. I did it twice. Sometimes I do it twice in case I do something like feather back the effect. But anyway, so there is my stamp visible. Look at here where I've taken out all these little clutter things. Like, for example, there's some conduit up there. Here I left my stand in the picture. When I put the two pictures together, or the three, I guess that is, the background plate, I forgot to take that out. I took the head out, but I didn't take the stand out. So I had to do that with some Photoshop tricks. I'll show you how to do that. And then anything else, like there's a little highlight there. Let's see. A little highlight there. There's a light there. A little highlight. I take all that out to make sure that my eye doesn't get too distracted by things, so I clean it up. Photo filter to give it a little bit of a coolness. Color balance it. There's a hue saturation. Look at that. That is really warm. Levels. Those are my first levels. Actually, it was a vignette. And then my black and white layer will show you why that's important. A little dodge and burn on his face. And if we go back to here, you'll see where I fixed his hair along here. I just didn't like, it was kind of, I don't know, that's his style, I guess. And there's the original that came over from the bridge. So let's go over, and here's my light streak. We're going to show you how I pull that in here in a minute. So let's go over to bridge. And bridge is behind here. There we go. And when I did my behind the scenes, I didn't show you guys every picture. I do that sometimes, but boy, that is just kind of annoying in a way. To me, at least, it is. So I'm not afraid to show you my outtakes here. But you can see, I think William, when he looked a little nervous. His eyes are a little like, kind of like, I didn't want to use the word bugged out, but he just looked a little bit like he was stiff. I was trying to get him to relax a little bit. And then every once in a while, he'd do a really cool look. And that's what we're all about, is all he needs one or, you know, whatever, one good look. So you can see these here. And if you look at my shutter speed, I was down there at 1/6 of a second. So really slow, almost 1/4 of a second. So on a couple of them, he's a little bit ghosted because he moved. Here's, I think, the one of my picked. But let's go over here. We're going to say, these are the 3 images that I'm going to use to build that shot. So here's the first one. I like this one because he's squinting a little bit, and he looks like he's going to tear my head off. There's the main background plate, except I still got my light in there. So I took it out, and there's a frame that's got it out. So let's take a look at how I do this. So you can see up here, there's a little teeny, looks like sliders and a little crop mark. That means I did something to this image. It's keeping that. So I'm going to hit Command R. It's going to take me over to Bridge. I don't use Lightroom, but you can see I've got my exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, all that I've had some adjustments made there. So I'm going to clear that out. We're going to go over here and we're going to say reset to default. So there's my image that came out of the camera. All right. So you can see that my soft boxes are not encroaching onto him. You can also see that I have a light, that light hitting the rink. I mentioned this when I talk about that. That way, when I paint him in, if I'd strobed that separately when he stepped out, then you could do it, but you'd have to really get tight in there with my mask. I don't have to do that. So there's my 2 lights. So let's take a look at what I would do to this image. So the first thing is I'm looking at my edge lights here. So we're going to pull back the highlights a little bit. I don't care about these. I'm not looking at the soft boxes. Those are blown out. Even with the grids on, they're pretty bright. So we're going to pull the shadows up a little bit here. And then we're going to take the whites. Let's hold down the option. When I hold down the option, it will show me where the clipping is. So right about there, it gives a little snap. Nope, not. Let's go. We don't care about this over here. So let's just pull it up a little bit. Let's look at on him. Where does it show up on him? It really doesn't. So maybe we'll just look and say, that's good. Same with the blacks. Let's see. We don't care about his jersey, pants, whatever they're called. I don't even know what they're called. We're got a little texture. Not too much. A tad of clarity, maybe a tad of haze. Then we'll come down here. We're going to hit our color mixer. And we're going to look at my skin tones here a little bit. So that's the orange. Little bit adjustment, not too much. Let's see what yellow does. Adjust the lights. What does blue do? Blue adjusts his suit a little bit. It's right here. So not a lot of adjustments there, but I always take a look at that. So let's see. Go back to basics. Overall, I'm going to leave it at that. I could take out a little bit of the orange-ish. Let's say we go to the color temperature and go to 49, maybe 5,000 Kelvin. Not bad, all right? So we say, let's take a look and go open. Now, it's going to bring it over to Photoshop. And I'm going to, let's see, where's Photoshop here? It's still loading, I think. It's taking its time. Here it comes. Okay, there's my, what we say, my base image. So let's go back over here. We're going to click on my background, Command R. Now, what I normally do is I will go over here and we're going to click on Photoshop. Bring my raw. And I'm going to look at the background. And right now, this is very close. So what I probably did was I went to apply previous settings, and then I adjust my value exposure, and I just look at the brick, say the brick wall, and say I want to get it somewhat close to that. Because when I paint them in, it doesn't have to be perfect, but let's just say that's good. Now, what I could do also is I could make it a smart objects, but I don't think we need to do that. So we're going to say, okay, open. And then we're going to do the same with this background layer here. So there's that's the number 2. And let's go Command R. And here I have maybe a little strobes going on over here, but not a lot, almost all natural light. So let's take a look at my background here, and we're going to see if we can get somewhat close to it. I think it's a little dark, so let's just open it up a little bit. And it's a little warm, so let's just take down, and I'm colorblind, so it's really difficult for me to do this, but I'm just going to look at the 2 images here. Maybe we went too far, so let's pull it down a little bit, right about there. Pull this back a little bit. Color temperature. So we're going to say, okay, open. So now we've got 3 layers. So we're going to put all 3 of these layers into one. So here's my base, so we're going to bring them over. So let's get the first one here. I'm just going to pick it up. I go up to where the that base is, and then I bring it down, and I'm going to hold the Shift key down and let go. Okay. We're going to register it better, but that's the first start. Then I'll do the same here. And we'll go up, whoops, here, hold down the Shift key and say go. All right, so those are the 3 layers. We're going to grab all 3 of those layers, and we're going to make sure under Edit, we're going to do Auto Align, just in case I kick the camera, which I did on one of the scenarios, not this one, but the other one. But this will make sure I get it registered. And you can see there's a little bit where I had to fix it. So now I'm going to make a black mask. So there's 2 ways to do it. One is I hit the mask, it's white, and then I do Command I on the Mac and say black, fill it with black. Or I just hold down the Option and hit the mask and it'll be black. All right, so now what that means is I have these masks, and these masks are blocking these 2 images from showing up on here. But this is where the magic happens. So we're going to turn this one off for a second. You don't have to, but I'm going to show you how simple this is. We're going to go over here. We're going to grab a brush, and it's going to be a white brush. We're going to go 100%, and we're going to make it big enough where I just come along here and I just paint out my lights and light stands. So let's go over here. We're going to paint this out. All right. Pretty seamless. And then I'm going to take this light out. So we're going to go up here to the top one, and we're going to paint along here and take this out. And again, I forgot to do it down here before. So that takes out that light, but I still have that blowing onto the background there. And so what I'll do is just double check, make sure I didn't mess something up. And I didn't leave anything. Let me go back down here. Just make sure I didn't. And you can hit the backslash right below the delete, and that'll show you where you've painted. All right, looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge these 3 down to make one layer, because I'm done. So Shift, Command, Shift. Let's see. Command E. We can select them all. Command E will do it. Oh, that's the stamp visible. So Command E will just merge them down. So I have now the base image with no lights, just like magic. Looks incredible. All right, that's a good start. Now, I got a little line along here, so I'm going to do just a little bit of a crop. So we're going to come down just slightly. Oops, I'm going to hold down the control key, which is supposed to slow it down a little bit there. Oh, just trying to do snap. Just trying to snap it to, let's come right to that point. And then, let's see, do we have anything on the, whoops, the bottom there? Bottom looks pretty good. We'll go right there. All right, hit enter. All right, so that's a good start on that. So let's start building the image the way I would normally do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let's say I'm going to do a little retouching on him. Okay, so we're going to go and make a blank layer, Shift Command N. We are going to fill that with, or set the blending mode to overlay, fill it with 50% gray. So this is my retouch. So we're going to go down here to my dodge. We're going to set it to midtones at about, let's say, 6 to 7%. So now I'm on dodge. So let's zoom in here a little bit. And I'm going to first come down and we're going to dodge. But if I hold down the option, it goes to burn at midtones at 7%. So it's really fast. So I just hit the option and I burn this down a little bit here. Hit let go, I do the dodge. Okay, just find little spots. Here it's really got a little dark section right here. And I might spend probably more, I'll probably spend more time doing this than anything else. Okay, hold the option down, which will burn along here a little bit. I'm going to dodge that right spot right there. Burn this down here. Dodge that right there. Dodge that right there. Okay, dodge. So I'm just going around and cleaning things up a little bit. Now, I'll probably spend a little more time than this, but for this video, I'm just showing you kind of the basics. And you can, again, when you do your subjects, you can choose how much time you want. All right, so let's say, let's do the eyes a little bit. We're going to, since I've got the dodge, we're going to pull back the eyes just a little bit here. I could do that again later, but since I'm all set up here. Now, let's just say, I'm going to do stamp visible. I'm going to show you a little trick. Shift, Option, Command, N. And then I'm going to go Command J. We are going to pull it back to 50%. 50, hold on. I don't have to be locked in there, but we're going to go to the patch tool. And with the patch tool, let's zoom in a little bit. We're going to fix a couple little things. So let's just say this has got a little issue. We're going to pull it over here and clean that up. And we'll do the same here. Just going to pull it right there. So it's a 50% setting. I don't like this very much here, so let's see. We got to find a good. Let's go down over here by the shoulder. That's a little too much. Let's go Command. What we're going to do, I'll do that in a second. Let's get a couple of these real quick. We're just going to pull it right down there. Okay, not bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these two down and then do it again, Command J, and then we'll pull it back at about, let's say 25, 30%, 30, whatever it comes out to. So now we'll do it again. Let's find something a little bit brighter there. And right there. That helps smooth out the little rough spot right there. And we could probably do it right here too. Smooth it out just a little bit. All right, not bad. I could spend a little more time on that, but that looks good. All right, so we're going to merge that down. Whoops. Select both of them, Command E. And I'm probably done with the dodge and burn there too, but we'll just keep going. All right, next thing I do is we're going to get a black and white layer. And we are going to set that black and white layer to about 50%. Oh, that was the wrong one. I went too fast. Let's try that again. Black and white, there it is. We're going to set that to about 50%. And then we're going to go to soft light. So let's take it off, take it on. So look at that, look at how that kind of defines his muscles a little bit more. It's a little snappier. If I go to overlay, it's going to be even more, more on a snappy side, but I think we're going to build that in a minute, so we'll keep it to soft light. So the more I go to the percentage of black and white, the more contrast it is. So it's kind of I don't really look at the slider necessarily, but I'm looking at the image and going, okay, all right, that's 52%. It's about where I leave it. Okay. We'll do another levels, and we're going to go over here to the gradient tool, right here. We're going to pick the circular, which is the a radial gradient. We're going to have we want our black brush, black foreground, pull from the center out. And now you can see over here, I have a smooth gradient mask. And now all I have to do is go over here to my properties and pull from this, pull to the right, which gives me a little more, it darkens it down a little bit here so that he's popping in the middle. But I lost a little bit of rafters over here. So all I have to do is click on that mask, go over here to my brush. We're going to take the black brush at about, let's say 35%ish, 40%. And we're going to slowly paint back the rafters that got darkened down. Maybe pull up, well, let's say Sonny would be happy if I lighten up his name. But that pulls a little bit more, because I spent, my exposure was perfect for the, sort of give me a little bit of the rafters looked. So I don't want to lose that. All right, so that's what I do there. All right, so the next step would be to hue saturation. And on every image that I do, I always do this. Every image. I go to master and I pull down about minus 10 to 15 depending. And then I go to reds, the same, about 10 to 15. And the yellows, in this case I might pull the yellow a little bit more because it was really yellow. So I'm pulling out basically the warm and the red tones on him. So that makes his skin look a little more brown. And I do it on all my pictures, but of my sports figures, I do it all the time. All right, so we've got that. Let's go to the next step, which is color filter, photo filter. And we're going to go over here to the cooling. And there's really a couple cooling filters. I like the LBB, and we're going to pull it down to maybe like, let's say, let's go to 0, and then maybe 6%. Don't think I want much more than that. So that just takes a little bit of the snappiness of the warmth out and makes it a little more daylight looking. All right, with that, I think we're pretty close to doing a stamp visible here, so I can start cleaning things up. So Shift, Option, Command, E. There's my stamp visible. So I'm going to work on this layer, and I almost always use the spot healing brush. Let's see, I'm going to let go of, make sure, the spot healing brush, and start fixing things. So let's zoom in over here and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Like that bugs me, right? So I take that out, clean up that. I'll go through here and I'll just zoom in and I'll take out everything that kind of distracts my eye. So there's a little spots, little dirt, whatever that is. Maybe this whole patch I don't like right here, so let's just take that out. Maybe I don't like that. I don't know what that is. Some war wounds, blood from the last fight. I don't know what that is. I don't see red very well. I don't see green at all. So anyways, I'm cleaning things up. Last time I did not like this because it really distracted my eyes. So I click on one side, hold the shift key, and then run down it. So that cleaned that up pretty good. Just toned it down a little bit. So we'll clean up here. Maybe a little highlight there. I don't like this. Don't like these. That kind of bugs me right there, coming out of his leg. All right, you get my point here. I'm just going around. That's kind of a eyesore, whatever that is in the background. Let's see if we can just pick that up, get rid of it. Not bad. So I think when we were up here, I didn't like this. I'm going fast here, folks, for you guys, because I don't want to spend too long on this tutorial. But if something distracts my eye, I will definitely fix it. Yeah, this has to be fixed. And then this light, we took this light out. So all with this spot healing brush, sometimes you got to do it a couple times. I am cleaning up little goobers, things that distract my eye. This bothers me right here. All right, so we'll go back down here. The next thing, I'm pretty much getting close here, but I don't like his hair. So we're going to go over here to filter, liquefy. Don't tell him I said I don't like his hair. And we're going to use the push tool, the very top one here, and we're going to push down. Now, because there's a rafter, I got to kind of just be careful. I got to have to push it in and then down. Same thing here. Follow the rafter in and then bring it down like this. I use a liquefy a lot. Looks great. We just say, okay, that's all I needed to do on that. Looks like my crop didn't do very good here, so we're going to crop it again. We're going to bring it in just a tad here. Let's see if I got it. Sometimes it snaps up, it snapped right back. When you get to the very edge, it does not like that. Oh boy. I'm going to use my mouse. That was using my Wacom pen and it just doesn't like it. So I'm going to be, oh, see, it just snaps. I guess there's probably somewhat a little button up here that says take off the grid or whatever it is. I don't know. Okay, how are we doing? I would say I would darken this over here a little bit. So we're going to create, let's go over here to levels. We're going to go over here to my gradient tool again, which I use a lot. Instead of the circular, we'll do the linear gradient. And we're going to pull along here, my black brush, maybe even more. We're going to start here, pull this way. And then we go over here to my properties. Whoop, invert it. We're going to pull down just a little bit there. So it's balanced out. Looks pretty good. All right, so now I think it's time to do a little bit of the atmosphere around the lights and stuff like that. So let's take a look at what we can do there. So I'm going to create a blank layer, Shift Command N, and we'll call this Streaks 1. We're going to go over here to my light streaks, and I made this light streak, I don't know, 8 years ago, and it was Corey Barker, who's a Kelby 1 instructor, kind of showed how to do this. I couldn't even repeat that today. It's been so long. You can in Luminar, you can do light streaks. There's a bunch of things. I could probably build it, but not the way I built this. This was kind of a fun little project. And I just saved it. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to go back to here, and we're going to drop it onto this light. So let's get rid of these two. We don't need these anymore. So it brought it in 2 layers here, so let's just merge that down. because there's two parts to it. Let me show you what the parts are. There's the inner part, the glow, and then the streaks. So we're going to go Command E. That makes it into one layer. All right. So what I'm going to do, and I can adjust the opacity here a little bit. So let's just say, and actually I'm a little bit low. So Command T. I want to go up just a little bit. Center it there. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Command J. So Command J, Command T. So that gives me a free transform. Then I pick it up and I just bring it over here. So now I have two of them. But instead of having the same exact streaks go, I spin it a little bit. So that way it looks slightly different. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then we can always play with the opacity. Maybe this light's a little brighter than that light. I think you get my point. So now we're going to go Command J, Command T, and that's for the next light down. But we're not going to keep the streak at the same size. We're going to make it smaller because that light is smaller. So we go back here. We rotate a little bit. Maybe even that's still too big. So let's go a little smaller. Oops. Let me center it up here. So we say up, that's easy. Command J, Command T, and we bring it over here. Let's center it. Okay, and then we'll, oh, I gotta spin it. Sorry. It wants to jump all over the place here. There we go. All right. So we got two more lights, three more lights, but I think we'll take that one out. We're just going to do two more lights here. So we go Command J, Command T. Once you have the lights or the streak done, it's just a matter of repeating it. So we're going to go over here, use my mouse instead here. Well, it's not going to do it. It's going to ask me to do it this way. We're done. Command J, Command T. Pick it up. Bring it over here. Let's rotate a little bit. I say OK. We're going to take out this light because we don't need it. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, so let's take it out. Wasn't the best job there, so let's do it this way. Then we come in here and see if it'll follow it. Well, not too bad. All right. I'd take a little more time on that if I was doing this for my final. Let's go up here. I'm going to make it streak right on the top here. So we're going to go in line of these three. And then Command J, Command T, and we'll spin it a little bit. A little different streaks. All right, so there's what I did. Those three, that looks good. We're getting close to the overall final. So let's do a Shift Option Command E one last time. And we're going to finish this thing off. I still feel like I need a little more vignette on him. I want him to pop just a little bit more. So let's go down here to Levels. We're going to go to my gradient over here. We're going to go up to my circular. We're on the black brush as my foreground. Pull from the center. We're going to actually pull from his head just a little bit and make it a smaller circle than we did before. So if my properties don't show up, I got to click on this little icon here. Then I come over here. We're going to pull this down just a little bit more. So it's darker down here. His face is still the same value. I'm losing the rafters, so let's go back to my brush. Let's go to 100% on this one. And we have my black brush. And just bring back my rafters up here a little bit. Looks pretty good. What else? Let's take one last shot at a levels. You can see my curve here, and right here, this point, there's a drop off. It's really kind of tapering down, but then there's a drop off. I'm going to bring my highlight slider over to the tip of that. Now, what happened is these lights got a little blown out, and I also forgot to do the little glow on there too. So we'll do that in a second. So I'm going to make a black brush. Let's go 50% opacity. And we're just going to pull back a little bit of that highlight so they don't look too blown out. And then I'm going to pull down just a little bit of that arm, maybe the stomach there. We'll take the hand wraps down just a little bit, and I think this highlight looks a little too much there, right there. So I've snapped everything else up. We'll pull this back here. That's a little too contrasty. Let's go to 100%. Whoops, come on. Pull that back. Maybe pull this back a little bit. And let's go Shift, Command N, and that's going to give me a blank layer, and I'm going to do one more glow on there. So let's go to my white brush. We'll go 35%, 40, somewhere around there. And we're going to make it, I'll make sure it's a really soft brush. So I held down the control to pop up, make sure it's as soft as possible. Hit enter to get rid of it. And I'm just going to tap. Well, hold on, Command Z. Let's go over here first. And let's make this bigger here. We're going to do a little bit there, a little bit there. And let's make a smaller brush back here. And then we're going to take that layer, add a little bit of noise. So filter, noise. It'll probably default to 21. That's what I've been doing this. So that gives a little bit of grain to it. We're going to make it small. Take a look at it. And I kind of build it up. Then a lot of times what I do is I'll take the last thing I do is make it a black and white. We're going to take it and put it on black. Hold on, it's not doing it. I hit my F key. It goes to gray and then black. And I look at the image in black and white and say, what do I think? Okay, so let's hit the tab. And we're going to go to, where's my levels here? I'm going to go back to my levels. Hit property. I'm going to hit the black, just one little click. 5, 4, whatever, just to give me a little bit deeper blacks. I've learned that, especially when you make a beautiful print. I love the deep blacks. So let's hit the F key again, and then we'll take the black and white off. So the black and white just looks at tones. So and I was taught this years ago by a really very, very famous retoucher, that you always do your levels, your final levels in black and white, even if it's the color. So we get rid of that. I think that looks pretty darn good. A few little things I would fix. I can always go back here, and there's a little highlight on the, I think it's shoe or something that bugs me. I would fix a little bit of those. Oop, there's a little highlight right there. That little rafter up in the corner here bothers me now that I'm looking at it. I had a couple of photographers that say, hey, can I hang out with you? And they've watched my courses, but they hang out and watch me retouch. And one of them said, I didn't realize how much time you spend on just taking out little teeny highlights and things that get your eye from, distract your eye. And also, you can see that this is, let me go up here. This rink is just, well, that's not too bad there. It looks a little crooked there. So what I might do is we're going to make one more, snap visible, Shift, Option, Command E. go to free transform, Command T. I'm going to hold down the control and click and go to warp. And I'm just going to pull down that gem background. Whoops, I don't want to come in on it. Just a little bit, and it makes it feel like it's more level there. So Command semicolon, whatever that gets rid of that. So there you have it. I hope that wasn't too fast for you. I would say this. If you look at what I'd call the Joel Grimes secret sauce, it's that black and white layer that I go to either overlay or soft light at 50%. That gives that little bit of snap, and it takes out some of the, I would say, the saturation, so it gives me a little bit of a desaturation look. I've even increased the saturation a little bit, desaturation, by using the hue saturation and pulling it back the tones a little bit there in the red and yellow and in the master. I think really that's the base of my look, the look that I've been doing with all my sports stuff for the last 10 years. Before I started teaching, I used to have people, I'd find on YouTube and on the internet blogs, people trying to figure out how I was doing my look, my secret, desaturated look for the sports. There you have it. So now, of course, I've been teaching that for a long time, but I just came up with that look and I like it. And of course, I'm colorblind, as I said before, so I love the desaturate look. But I think it turned out pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed this. There was one thing I wanted to show you. I promised this, and then of course I don't want to renege on the promise. Let's go back over here real quick. I almost forgot. I got too many things going on at one time. We're going to go to raw here. We're going to click on this. The reason why I wanted to show you this is because here is William. Actually I think I liked that shot and I fixed his eyes a little bit on the final one. But when I took out the background, so here would be the first background. So he was just sitting there. Okay, so we go from here to here. But I started strobing some things, and he went over and put his arms on the rink here. And then when I went to paint in, I got this, there's like a ghost. I could not use this image. The minute he moved those ropes, I could not blend in my background. So, lesson learned is I would photograph him here, say, William, step out, and then move my strobe around and strobe some of the backgrounds to get some light on there. So I wanted to show you that because those little accidents happen and I wasn't paying attention because I was running around with my iPad, and now if I had a cowboy and a horse, horse might move and step into the wrong part of the frame. So I've learned something, is get your subject out of there if they have a risk of moving something. And so that will save you on that. So I'm going to keep doing these start to finishes. I love doing these. This has definitely gone over an hour. I try to keep them at 1 hour, but anyways, there you go. That's our pro boxer, William. We're going to go on and hopefully I'm trying to think, I got some good ideas for some future start to finishes we'll be recording over the next few months.